Dave, tell us about yourself.
I'm a nice, easygoing man. I don't know what the hell you want me to say.
I think we're getting a picture, Dave. Let's move on.
Good evening. Welcome to the Steelers Sanctuary podcast. I'm Leanne Lohman. I'm joined tonight by Bob Quinn, Dave Ribeiro, and David Korb. And Zach Franciscus should be popping in here like the Keebler elf or something any minute now to join us. I want to mention before we go any further and I get distracted and off task, we do have a merch store. The little QR code is up there by Dave's head. And we have some new t-shirts that we've added for Hall of Fame Herbig and one for Uncle Aaron that probably only Dave will buy, but maybe somebody else is interested in joining him on that train of misery. I don't know. But please, if you get a second, go check out the merch store. Buy yourself a t-shirt. Get them for your friends for gifts. Do some early Christmas shopping. All of the above. So I think that leads us right into talking about Aaron Rodgers' watch day 4 or whatever we're in now.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried really hard after our conversation on Monday about him to try to get myself in like a headspace. I'm such a positive fan where I'm looking at like the positives about Rodgers coming to the Steelers and letting go of some of the other stuff. And then this like the commentary on the media about like, well, this is Rodgers' world and we're just living in it and he'll decide when he wants to decide has me like more out than I ever was. Like, that's exactly what I don't want. Like, guys, what is his, you guys like him, you want him here. What is his issue?
I'm annoyed. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly with Aaron Rodgers because it's the Steelers and the Giants allowing him to do this.
Well, I mean, the way you don't allow him to do it, right, is to just go get somebody else, but like
walk away. Give him a deadline.
Go after Russ at this point. This is ridiculous and worrisome.
Give him a deadline. Say you sign by 4:00 today, tomorrow, whenever you feel comfortable. And then if he doesn't meet it, walk away.
Yeah, Jerry Dulac did say they may have done that or do that, and they're just not telling people that they would do that. But it sure
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
This is Brandon Ayuk all over again. He's getting jerked around the same way he was last year.
Right.
This definitely is not Brandon Ayuk. The bottom line is
it's worse.
No. Look, if you want Aaron Rodgers, you got to take the good with the bad. If you thought that he would sign on the first day of free agency and not go on a nice long vacation,
walk on the beach.
So instead of skipping minicamp, he says, "Screw it, I'm just going to go take my vacation now." You got to take the good with the bad, and unfortunately, because you screwed up the Justin Fields. All you had to do was pay the kid $21 million for 2 years, and you would have been fine. But because you screwed it up, you let Danny Dimes sign somewhere else. You've let all kinds of other people go. Right. Now you're stuck. You got to sit and wait it out because you do have to sit and wait it out because there's nobody else.
Bob,
I don't know though. I mean, I feel like isn't this like exactly what all the fans are talking about they don't want in this organization is this kind of like me behavior. I mean, everybody was frustrated with George Pickens, who was frustrated with Deontay Johnson. Do you know what I mean? All of these frustrations, even the worries that people had about Russell Wilson coming in last year, whether you feel like they were founded or unfounded. Like, isn't this the opposite of like what you think the Steelers are trying to like rebuild their image or whatever?
This is enabling him. This is enabling, and they do it to all their players. They do it to all of them. You go to Aaron Rodgers the first day of free agency and you say, look, here's your contract. You have 24 hours. Oh, we're getting out. Before everyone's gone. Now you're right, Bob. Most of the quarterbacks are gone. It's too late. But they should have done this from the beginning. The same thing with the Ayuk thing. Here's our offer. Take it or leave it. Oh, we're walking away. But no, Omar keeps hoping and praying and sitting and waiting and hoping and praying. And you're setting the precedent. He knows he can jerk the Steelers around now. So if you thought he was bad before, it's gonna get worse because he knows he's in control.
He knows he can jerk the whole league around. He's
41 years old. He can't do that anymore, Bob.
He can. He did. He did it to the Jets. He's gonna do it to whoever.
They're allowing him to do it. Is my point. They're allowing him to do it.
Why do you want that here? Like, if like you guys both admitted last week that you don't think that even with Rodgers we're getting to a Super Bowl, right, and winning a Super Bowl. So then why do we even want this toxicity in our city. Do you know what I mean? Where you look at the stuff he did at the Jets where he acted as like the de facto GM. I was so shocked to hear Gary Dulac say that he thinks Mike Tomlin is the one that's driving this train.
It's got to be.
Completely. I was shocked.
Well, with him being the de facto GM, you gotta remember the alternative in New York. It was the owner's 18-year-old son.
I don't disagree, but that doesn't make it okay that you let him do those things. You have to run your own organization. He shouldn't be in control.
That doesn't mean you hold it against Aaron Rodgers for doing it. It's not like he demanded that control. They
gave it to him. That's right. But the Steelers are doing the same thing.
But that means he feels like he's entitled to this stuff. You know what I mean? So is that really what you want?
Well, look, Kaboli put it out there, and I don't want to misquote him, but he put it out there as something along the lines of he thinks that they're giving him till Friday. That is the deadline. Tomorrow.
I'll believe it when I see
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then after tomorrow, they're done. So,
but Friday, Dave.
Go ahead.
All the quarterbacks are gone by Friday.
Hey, look,
signed.
I'm just telling you what. I'm just the messenger here. Don't kill the messenger, all right? I'm just telling you what Kaboli said. I don't know if that's true or not. Also, here's the thing. When you look at these things, the Vikings, didn't they draft McCarthy high? So why the fuck would they want him?
Because he might not be ready.
And then
the Warriors not ready.
And the Giants, is that really that great of a situation? He's got neighbors to throw to. I get that. Yeah. But the rest of that team is...
And he just bought a new house. He just bought he just built a $20 million house, and
in New York,
that's enough money to buy another house.
Yeah, and to Vicky's point here, you haven't heard me go off about bad behavior. That's more of a Zach thing. That's not me. I could give a shit as far as like when Pickens does his little tantrums and stuff. If anything, I've defended guys like that. Look, this is football. I don't want a team full of choir boys because a team full of choir boys gets you 3 wins. So. I mean, at this point, if you wanted Aaron Rodgers, you should have expected this. Now, look, we've been going back and forth in the chat for the last couple of days. Gardner Minshew signed. This is the guy I was all of a sudden jumping on. Bring on Cooper Rush. Look, you want to move on from Aaron Rodgers? No problem. I got no problem rolling with Cooper Rush, Gardner Minshew, and maybe even Mason Rudolph since we re-signed him. I'm okay. I'm totally okay with that. Bad behavior, that's par for the course.
Let's bad behavior. I mean,
there's a big difference.
That's not really bad behavior. It might be spoiled behavior. It might be a little bit of arrogant. He has never, we got to separate that. He's never been in trouble. He is not
that guy, like legal trouble or
it's just
people. It's not that stuff at all.
And I blame the Jets for last year. The Jets gave him everything. This is what you don't do to somebody like that. You do not give them everything they want. You set parameters. You set boundaries.
When you give them everything and you create this monster,
to
be the parent that reels them back in is a big task. You know what I mean? And
it is.
I look at this as a very different thing than like George Pickens' eye black message, which is stupid and really in the grand scheme of things doesn't hurt anybody. And versus like something like this where you have like serious interpersonal issues with the people in your organization. Like to me, that's not bad behavior. Like those are very different things. Zach, what are you thinking about all this?
I have a very different view than a lot of people. Everyone knows the moment Justin Fields was signed, I just resigned myself to whatever happened. The Mason Rudolph signing to me was the bright spot I didn't think I'd get. Because right now, if we don't get anyone else and Mason Rudolph is the one that starts for us, I'll do it. I'll do a jig because I was expecting much worse the moment Justin Fields signed elsewhere. So right now, I'm actually kind of content because I was already bottomed out when it came to the quarterback situation. So yeah. I'm riding high right now, where a lot of people are a little more concerned. So so everyone knows, I'm preparing myself for the Aaron Rodgers possibility in the same way I did for Kenny Pickett. I'm going to be mad about it up until the moment it happens. I'm going to take a moment to breathe, and then I'm going to learn how to find a way to cheer for the team. That's what I'm going to do. I know myself, but I'm going to be mad about it up until the moment it happens. I guarantee that.
A point I wanted to make with this too is I think that's what this holdup is with them spending money in general. We don't know what the offer is. We don't know if they're offering him 1 year 30, 1 year 40. We don't know. So they have to be careful what they do with the money before this decision is made. But here's another thing I want to point out. Are we not sure that's not what they're being held hostage by? Are we sure they're not being held hostage by the looming TJ Watt contract they need to give him? Are we sure they're not about to do that this season? I don't know. But I think it's very strange that they're not going. I don't know what it is, Leanne, but
I agree with you.
In general, it's got me guessing what the hell is going on. They're
because
not
they knew
going.
TJ was coming,
But they're not going after anything of significance, in my opinion. The biggest thing they've done so far is DK Metcalf. Great, but since then, the shit they've done, I'm not impressed with. So there's something going on here. It's either the QB contract they're not sure of, or I think it is possibly TJ Watt's contract if it's not the QB situation. It's one or the other, in my opinion.
Or even a combination. It could be a little bit of both things. You know what I mean? Knowing this is looming, and then how much can you spend?
So many players have been paid the amount of money that I think the Steelers never saw coming. I think they never saw it coming. Starting with Justin Fields all the way to D Lyman getting paid.
I agree with that. I think they thought they would get Fields cheap. I think they thought they would get Rodgers cheap. And I think when those things didn't happen, they were caught off guard, like you said.
I mean, Young got, 3 years, $51 million? When he's been mid. It ain't like he's done anything that great. That's why I thought Tomlin might go get him. I couldn't believe when I saw a contract. I was like, what?
Does that speak to how far behind the Steelers are? I mean, we talk about how far, but that they aren't even caught up on the financial part where this caught them off guard. And we're talking about Omar Khan is in that room, which means even possibly him to some point got caught off guard. That's very disappointing to me.
Okay,
that's unforgivable.
In a different way, is it really that they're caught off guard, or is it just that they're not willing to do that? Do you know what I mean? Is Omar looking at this we have so many needs, I can't afford to dump X into a mid defensive lineman or whoever, right? When I know we still have all these other needs, we got to prioritize spending big money, because I think they prove with Metcalf they're willing to spend money when they need to. I mean, I thought that was a reasonable contract. We didn't cheap out on him and lose
that
him.
wasn't a cheap out. It might have been a little bit of an overpay. It wasn't a cheap out.
Right. But we made sure we didn't lose him this time, like with Ayuk.
Right.
Yeah.
We're really going to come.
Right.
But now, to Dave's point, what else have you done? Is this team better than they were last year? You've got DK, a big improvement in the wide receiver room. What about the rest of the team?
Yeah.
I personally, I think Darius Slay is an upgrade.
You think he's what?
An upgrade over what we had last year.
That's a low bar.
Better than Dante Jackson.
I keep saying that low bar.
He's better than Dante Jackson.
Which one? I'm sorry, I missed it, Bob. Which one did you say?
Darius Slay.
Darius Slay is an upgrade.
He could fall off the cliff at any minute. He's 34 years old.
I think that coverage-wise, he's an upgrade over Dante Jackson. Yes. Yeah. I do.
Maybe.
Now, but it's a gamble. Does he fall off a cliff this year?
I don't
does he Pat P the shit out of us? That's my big worry with it. But just going strictly off what he's done, it's an upgrade technically over Dante Jackson.
Yeah. Pat P did not have the season Darius Slay did this year. So even if he falls off a little bit, he still should be a solid quarterback too.
I don't hate that signing, but I wouldn't point to it as a major upgrade that's going to put this team in a different level or anything like that. I mean,
no, but it does make them better.
Slightly.
I think everything can't be a major upgrade. You know what I mean? I think you have to leverage those things. You know what I mean? And look at, who's the solid placeholder for now until you can find that next franchise guy.
My problem is I talked myself into they're going to bring back Justin Fields. That's going to free up all this money for them to go get a bunch of people. And now that it's went fucking south,
I got away from
bad.
I got away from him.
I'm just like, okay, what are we doing? Now it's just a shit show. It really is. There's no way to put it. It's just a shit show. And
if they had picked up Fields' fifth-year option, he would have been under contract this year for $18 million.
That's
unforgivable. It's
there.
unforgivable.
Yeah.
I mean, honest to God, why did you trade for Justin Fields in the first place? You never wanted him to start. Did you really want him just to be the backup?
He was a safety net.
I signed him immediately. Immediately, when you traded for him, you should have went to him and said, "Look, we don't want to do your fifth-year option, but we'll do 2 for $25." I guarantee you, he would have signed it before.
Yes.
If they had picked up that fifth-year option, what would the Jets have given up for him? a third, a second. They could have gotten something like that. Instead,
Yeah.
they just let him walk away for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess hindsight's always 2020. Do you know what I mean? Those 6 games were like the best thing that could have happened to Justin Fields as he progressively looked better as he played. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Conversely, we could have seen a lot of what Chicago saw, and it would have been a shit show, and we'd all be sitting here complaining. We picked up his 5th-year option, and he was even worse than he was in Chicago because we don't know how to develop quarterbacks or whatever.
I honestly, guys, I think if they miss out on Rodgers and Wilson, I think we see them trade for somebody.
Well, there's my question, because
Trade for
people
who?
said after tomorrow they're done, and then what? So if you're right, David, with Kabali, and that's the
Cooper
deadline,
Rush.
then
Cooper
after
Rush.
tomorrow, then what? We saw that Russ is out visiting. We saw the little clip of him today speeding out of the Browns facility
the Browns.
like his ass was on fire, and then also having a visit, I guess, with the New York
The
Giants.
Giants.
So if we lose both of them, I mean, does Russ even want to come back, or is he salty now? Do you know what I mean? Is this just a ploy to make the Steelers?
Who cares? I'd rather have Mason. I would rather go with Mason. I'd rather, and I'm on record, I'd rather have Chris Boswell. I don't care if he's salty. Please, if we can pay part of his contract in Cleveland, we should.
I don't think the Steelers. Everything I've been told, the Steelers do not want him back.
Right.
Yeah.
They're mad at him for a couple of things, and they don't. They're actively trying to avoid him. You're looking at maybe Kirk Cousins at this point.
Yeah.
Was that going to do it for you?
Here's what I think,
What
Dave.
about
I think
Joe
it gets.
Flacco?
I think
Oh,
it gets.
Flacco.
Well, that's
Cooper Rush.
as far as trading for. I think it gets tricky because
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins' massive contract.
Atlanta would have to
gonna-
eat some of that.
How's that going to
Atlanta-
get ironed out?
Atlanta would have to eat some of it.
A guy that I see getting floated is Murray. I don't know how
that's
that
not
would
bad.
get ironed out.
I actually agree
But-
with Ted that says if they're going after a quarterback in 26, then just go with Mason,
Yeah,
because I
100%.
mean, you can't trade away your future right now for Kyler Murray or something, and then you're in a terrible position for 2026 when we're supposed to be trying to draft someone.
And that was the next point I was going to get to. It's either going to be you do that kind of trade where you got to work out a trade for Murray, Cousins. Then that next level is like Joe Milton from the Patriots, or they just roll up and see what they do with Mason or another, whatever guy that's left on the scrap heap, and go into 2026 maybe with some nice draft picks. It's one of those.
I like that. I genuinely hope that if the bottom falls out with Rodgers and all that we just go to Mason and we're like, listen, we're going to give you a good young offensive line. We're going to give you 2 really good deep field guys. We're going to draft you a great running back. We're going to draft some good defensive linemen. Have fucking fun this year, and then just that's it. Give him the one thing he's never got in Pittsburgh: a year of having fun.
Yeah, I mean, Vaughn brings up Hooker from the Patriots.
The Giants, but I don't see where he signed anywhere, Summer. So you'll have
I
to
don't
let
think
me
he
know
signed.
if he signed.
If
I
he
just
did,
think
I
he
didn't see
visited.
it.
It's not updated on the thing of quarterbacks that have signed. It's not
Yeah.
updated yet.
I don't even see it as like a tweet.
Yeah, I don't
You know,
see
where
anything
somebody dropped the news.
updated here. See
Let's
if there's
remember
anything.
something about Mason too. Okay, he's getting $4 million a year for the next 2 years. Mason played himself out of Tennessee. He had every chance to take and keep that job, and he did not play great this year. We know what Mason is. Okay, if he comes back, sure, fun story. Let you have your 1 year, and he'll be benched by week 6. We'll have the second coming of Duck Hodges. Matter of fact, we might want to see what Duck Hodges is doing and see if he wants to come to camp, if we're not going to spend any money.
Duck is living his best life right now on tour with
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
he's
do you
not coming
guys
back.
think about a trade for Hendon Hooker?
If we could do it, I would love it.
I think that's a
I'm
little-
Hendon
For
Hooker
what?
fan.
What's reasonable?
That's
I heard a 5th today.
Yeah.
Somebody said a 5th.
But see, that's
I don't know.
but that's that next level. You either work out a contract with Kirk Cousins and them and figure out the money, or you go to that next safer thing of not giving up high draft picks and a guy that maybe if you put weapons around, they could do something with it and make it work.
If you want a guy like Hendon Hooker, you had a better version than Justin Fields.
Look, they're not Dave.
Well, no.
They're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. Period. They're looking to just win games. We know this. They're just looking,
They're looking to
win
win
games.
a playoff game. I think
And
that
there
is
you go.
like the goal.
There you go. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
It is.
But
But-
that's reality. They're trying to just win a playoff game. So they're gonna if they go to that safer second tier way of trading for a quarterback, it is what it is. That's why I brought up Trey Lance because
Well-
I never saw Trey Lance that much, so I don't know how much he's been given a chance. So, okay, Bob, I'm sorry.
He's been given plenty of chances. He sucks.
Okay.
And Hendon Hooker is an interesting person. Number one, he's not Justin Fields. He doesn't play a mobile game. He's a pocket passer. If he didn't get hurt at Tennessee his senior year, and basically everybody knew he would miss his rookie season, he'd have been a first-round pick. I don't hate the idea of giving Hendon Hooker a chance as a pocket passer in Pittsburgh if it's a fit. And if you're trying to compare him to like Joe Milton is the poor man's Anthony Richardson. When you get him, if we trade something for him and he gets on the field, just because of the couple of plays he made in the meaningless game against third stringers, I'm telling you, that guy is the poor man's Anthony Richardson. Hooker should have been a former first-round draft pick. I'd be interested. I wouldn't give up the farm, but that's an interesting.
He's with the Lions, right?
Yeah, he's the backup.
Yeah, the Lions are not going to. The Lions are not. He's the backup there. He's the primary backup, right? They're not going to trade him.
Yeah,
they like him. I don't think.
Yeah.
I was confusing him with the Patriots kid. The Patriots kid you can have for a fifth. I don't think the Lions are going to trade Hooker. I really don't.
Well,
I mean, be able to get him for a fourth.
I don't know.
Fourth,
I mean,
fifth.
you could try.
Yeah, you could try. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to try, but
right.
Yeah.
I would love. I would got confused. I would love Hooker.
Yeah.
I would love that trade, but I don't see it happening.
As the backup, he only got looks like 9 snaps last season.
Yeah.
That was it. So.
Well,
But
he did well in that preseason game, and the headlines were still like, "Yeah, he's not ready."
Yeah.
Against,
The
like
fuck?
Bob said, the third string, and they were still like, "Yeah, he's not ready for starting yet."
You trade for him, it's like picking a quarterback in the first or second round. You take a risk. You just have a low outlay. You're paying him. He got drafted in the 4th round. I mean, I think he's getting paid like $1 million a year. So you throw it out there for one season and see if it works.
This is the kind of stuff, guys, I think is going to happen. I think the Steelers, if they miss out on Rodgers or Wilson, they're making a trade. I just don't know what tier of trade they're going to make. That's the way I look at it.
I was going to bring that up. Wasn't the knock on him his accuracy? He wasn't very
Yeah,
got a
coming out of
cannon.
college.
he's got a cannon. If you saw
he
that
does.
game,
Yeah.
if you saw when he got to play last year, holy shit. There was some plays made that was impressive.
Yeah.
I'll just say.
Well, at Tennessee, he would drop back to pass, and the guy would be running 40 yards downfield, and he'd throw it 90. He'd throw it up into the stands.
Right.
So
So
his issue was definitely accuracy.
for a day 3 pick, I'm willing to take a chance.
Yeah, but we've talked about him for about 10 minutes. Mike Tomlin doesn't want Hendon Hooker. He wants a veteran that can win him games now.
Well,
He was a bet. He
does.
every insider for Pittsburgh has said it that he believes that they have want to try when they have an opportunity with TJ and Cam to try to do something for these guys. And they're not looking at developmental stuff. They're looking at guys that they think can win a playoff game, and pickings are slim, So who's that
very.
leave? Rodgers, maybe Wilson, and they
Doesn't
seem to be
matter
out
who-
on him.
It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. This will be the 5th consecutive opening day with a different starting quarterback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And next year's going to be different too.
rough.
So you can
Unless they get
keep that
lightning in a
counting.
bottle. Yeah,
Yeah,
unless they get lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked.
So
Aaron
compared to
Rodgers is-
Monday, when we talked and we thought there was a pretty good shot we were going to be in on Rodgers. Like, I think we were doing that show Monday, at least from my perception, it felt like that was like almost a done deal. It was going to happen. If not, I felt pretty secure that we had Wilson in our pocket. So how much more worried are you today than you were on Monday?
very.
I'm a little worried the Vikings going to swoop in and sign him because they're worried about the KJ McCarthy not being ready, and that's for Aaron Rodgers. That's a perfect spot. Other than looking behind your back every once in a while to see if JJ McCarthy's healthy.
You got to think about like what like when I try to reason through it, like the Steelers keep coming up as like the best option. Do you know what I mean? But then I think, well, I don't really understand how his brain works. You know what I mean? Like
They're not though. That's
what
the
does
thing.
he want?
Yeah, I mean,
Who knows what he wants?
For Rodgers, the Steelers are probably the best option because
Right.
he'll have some input and some say here. Kevin O'Connell, you're going to run Kevin O'Connell's offense. I don't care whether you like it or not because he's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
I'll go with somebody else. I made Sam Darnold rich, so yeah, I could go with somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah. Look at the free agents that are left. I mean,
There's nobody.
look,
Bob.
I don't want a quarterback who has had now 5 consecutive down years as my quarterback and who continues to age. Russell Wilson plays worse every single year. I do not want the worst
get that,
part
Bob,
of his
but
career.
Yeah,
he's
but
one of the few guys left.
No, he's not. He's terrible. I am not kidding about Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush played better with CD Lamb than Russell Wilson played with George Pickens down the stretch.
I think JJ will ask to leave Minnesota if they sign.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They drafted J.D. McCarthy in the first round, didn't they?
Yeah, but he had major surgery, and people are questioning whether he's ready.
It's a health thing.
This is another thing. I saw this floated. Is there a chance that Rodgers is contemplating retirement?
Yes.
That's been floated too. That's been floated too.
I mean, I saw it and I was like, "Ooh,
like he's jerking everybody's chain for attention, and then he's going to be like, yeah, I'm done."
Well,
that's completely possible, and that goes back to Omar or Mike Tomlin or Mr. Rooney or whoever it is.
Agreed.
24 hours. This is what you have. Oh, we're moving on. That's it.
Right.
Look,
that's it. There's no reason to wait a week.
Don't have a short-term memory here. Who did Aaron Rodgers cut his teeth and learn under his first 4 years?
Brett Favre?
Yeah, Brett Favre.
Favre. Go back and look what Brett Favre was doing to the Packers, the Jets, the Vikings. Aaron's doing the same thing. And if he does go to Minnesota, he has completely followed in.
Yeah, but does he really want to do the same thing Brett Favre did? That's kind of stupid, isn't it?
Because it's so weird. Like, how do you
That's
anybody
so
else's
dumb.
brain you can rationalize through? You can't with him. Like some of the things he does just don't necessarily make sense. So
and again, Leanne, people are enabling him to do this. The Jets enabled him to act the way he did. I mean, when your boss says do whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. It's
and you're going.
They enabled him to do this for years.
Yeah, of course.
What do you?
So somebody's got to say you're 41 years old. Here's the contract. If you don't like it, and this coming from a guy who wants him to play here, but you got to set parameters. You can't let him be the boss.
Well, hey, what do you guys think? What did you think of the thing that came out about how Rodgers ordered that misplaced series Pittsburgh Pirates hat?
I have no idea, dude. I have no idea.
Is there a chance he's on vacation right now and can't come in and sign the contract? So they're waiting for him to come back.
He can say, "I want to sign." He could his agent's here.
Verbal agreement.
But somebody floated that they thought that was kind of strange that Aaron Rodgers had called the company and put in an order for that Pittsburgh Pirates.
And it was the designer of the hat that tweeted it, so it was like a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And like I asked you, Dave, unless he's a Pirate fan, which I highly doubt this day.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up signing on his terms on Monday, or But then again, that pisses me off because you've allowed him to dick you around for a week. Right. You've allowed this to happen. It bothers me. I love Aaron Rodgers. I want him to be the quarterback, but this shit bothers me.
Yeah.
Omar's like a joke. I know you guys don't want to hear this, but Omar Khan is a joke right now. Ayuk played him for 6 months.
I don't think it's Khan. I think it's Tom.
Ayuk didn't play him. The 49ers played the Steelers.
But Bob, Ayuk kept saying, he made the googly eyes to Tomlin. He said he wanted to play in Pittsburgh. He kept leading them on. They thought there was a chance.
He wasn't
that I agree with.
He never wanted to leave San Francisco. But he kept telling them for the contract.
San Francisco and Ayuk both used the Steelers. Okay,
both. All right, there's some 49ers are a little
They
bit.
They definitely both played a game here. They played a game.
Yeah.
They played a game. They played on our weakness.
Happy news or up news. So we had some other new Steelers. I can't keep track of what happened between our last show, but we had Eccles signed Harrison, Kenneth Gainwell, and they did some press conferences today, including DK Metcalf. And I have to say, if you don't know anything about DK Metcalf and you've never heard any of the stories that came out of Seattle about him being a little bit of a head case, you'd have watched that press conference and been like, what a nice guy he is. He was all like, yes, sir, and no, man.
I know. I loved it.
Was so oh my God, I was in love with him by the time it's over. I'm ready to order a jersey. He's so excited to be there. He doesn't want to take Pickens' number. So I just was curious what you guys thought about these couple of new additions, what you picked up from many of the press conferences you watched. There's Zach. Zach, we were just getting ready to start talking about the new Steelers, Eccles, Harrison, Gainwell, and then their press conferences as well as Metcalf's, if you happen to catch any of them. Yeah, and congrats to DK and his fiance. They got engaged yesterday. Apparently, Russell Wilson and Sierra set them up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, very interesting.
I don't know. I'm pretty underwhelmed with the rest of the free agent signings. I mean, DK is a great move. His press conference, like you said, was impressive. I thought it was kind of funny. He didn't really know Omar Khan's name. He kept saying Mike Tomlin, Mr. Omar, and Mr. Rooney. I think he thought Omar was his last name, which I think is kind of funny.
When I heard it the first time, a lot of people say that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a thing where people say like I used to get Miss Leanne a lot from people.
But he kept doing it. Like
he kept doing it and didn't do it for the other ones.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he said Mike Tomlin has brought in some great players into this organization. I was like, well, we know who's actually the one doing it now. Everybody
He said
knows.
the quiet part out loud.
Yep.
He did. He's like, oh yeah, and the bald guy too. I've seen him around the building a couple times. But
yeah, I love that. I mean, just yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Yeah. I mean, just very. I love that kind of stuff because that
really
to me shows me.
What's that? Nice to see.
Yeah,
he's so happy to be here. Like
he
that
seemed
felt
thrilled.
genuine.
But $150 million, I'd be thrilled too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much credit we can give a guy for showing up to the press conference where he just got paid $150 million and going, "I'm happy to be here." But that being said,
because you've seen other guys that come on and they're assholes.
Yeah.
You know
I'm in love, Bob. I have a non-romantic crush on the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't do anything to discredit it, but I mean, it's kind of like, hey, I won the lottery, and I walk in and show up and say, fuck, I could have won more money. I expect him to be a good citizen and show up at the press conference. So I don't give him a ton of credit. I don't discredit it, but I'm okay. Show me on the field, and we'll be happy.
What was that? What was up with that question from? He does that podcast with Mark Madden. I forget his name. Benz, I think is his last name.
Oh, Tim Benz.
Tim Benz. Did you hear that question about him having a down second half? And DK was just like, "No, I wasn't injured, dude. Like I was perfectly fine." Did you hear that part?
That
it's hard to hear the questions reporters ask, but I was really trying to hear, and I heard Tim Benz ask him, "Hey, were you injured second part of the half? Because that why you had a down part of the season?" And I'm thinking, bro, you see how big that dude is? You really want to fucking talk shit to him? Like,
well, you gotta ask the question. I mean, he did have his down second half. You want to look for an answer.
But DK was just like, nah, dude, if I was hurt, I wouldn't play. I'm going to be 100% DK before I go out there. Yeah. And he was like, so no, I wasn't injured. And I was like, ooh, man, he didn't seem very happy with that part.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the guys that brought in, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, DK was a great. I mean, great. I had to literally pull over when it happened because I was worried about if I was driving, how excited I would get. But after that, I genuinely think we got a little glimpse into a lack of strategy in the Pittsburgh front office. I think they had a really good plan A and maybe an okay plan B, but plan B fell apart. And then plan C wasn't really ready yet. So they had to start looking down. And then everyone started to give different opinions. And then it seems like something that started really, really well and concentrated fell apart really quickly. And that's what's concerning to me, that we got a glimpse into that Omar's 10%, as we call it. We got DK. But after that, no one knows who's running the show. And everyone kind of wants to a little bit. And it's confusing and frustrating because these are okay signings. Yeah. They're okay. They're going to help.
I agree with what David said earlier, though, about, making those big impact signings when, you have like this albatross around your neck with the quarterback not being signed. David brought that up earlier, and I think that's a really valid point. I totally agree with you. It's not that it's not Omar Khan's fault, but I just think that
I blame Kevin Colbert.
This weird, huh?
I blame Kevin Colbert.
Bob's dying me to jump through that screen.
No,
Bomber asked if you saw Pickett's presser when he was asked about possibly competing with Russ.
Didn't he say, I expect to be the starter or something like that?
Yes, he did.
That's what I have in my notes, is that he expected.
Yeah, they were never going to sign Russ. That was a dog and pony show.
Bro, if they sign Russ 2 weeks from now, we're going to see Kenny Pickett has been traded to whoever. You're going to see it again.
Awesome.
There was a few really good memes that came out about that, like the one with all the people in the line with the guns and stuff like that. There's been a few good memes about Russ following Kenny Pickett around. I tried to be nice to Nick Carnes, that big Twitter guy that does Brown stuff.
He's
and
a fuck face.
Oh,
Fuck
he
that.
Don't
is
be
kind
nice
of
to
a
him.
fuckface, but
Fuck
he posted
him.
Don't be
something
nice.
and I said, why don't hate Kenny Pickett? I mean, I just look, it didn't work out. It's whatever, right?
He's
not
some
mad.
words that I'm not going to say on here. I'm going to put
Yeah,
you
he
that
really
way.
is.
I'm going to be
But
nice.
So I said, well, maybe you guys will prove, everybody, all the fans that don't like Pickett or said that we weren't able to develop a quarterback, maybe you guys will be able to do something with him. The Steelers couldn't, right? And oh my God, the H2P folks came at me with, pitchfork and torture. I didn't say anything bad about him.
I've been on the ass end of that one a couple times. Believe me, I know what it's like.
The Pickett lickers are.
I know what it's like.
Yeah.
And it's not just the quarterback that's an albatross. People need to understand we are paying for our sins. We are paying for our Matt Canadas. We are paying for our inability.
100%.
We are paying for
No doubt.
years.
No
that
doubt.
And it is. I mean, there might be some people like, oh, Canada's gone. Then they forgot about it. People didn't
Shower
forget.
curtain, that's funny.
And when players are talking about coming here, there might Pat McAfee was talking today, and he was referring to us as the legendary Steelers and the historic Steelers. I'm like, yeah, that's one way to look at it. But if you look at just the last 5 years, we're the frustrating Steelers or the underperforming Steelers. We're a team that you have to pay $150 million to get a superstar here, which I fully accept, but we're paying for it. And that's making
and a second round pick.
It's kind of why I'm
contract.
I'm not as disappointed about what we're doing because I expected it.
If you look at it, I mean, I give Metcalf an A- that could easily turn into an A if he has a nice season. I think Slay is a B- that could easily turn into a B if he has a nice season. I low-key love the Kenneth Gainwell signing. If it ends up being Warren and Gainwell, which is not my ideal, but if it is, I think that's good. Eccles is interesting as a nickelback. I don't see him as an outside corner. I know they're going to let him compete for that spot, but I feel like he's nickel. It's him and Beanie Bishop, and he might be a little bit of an upgrade. So, I mean, it's kind of like a B- ish. The draft could push it up. You sign the overall.
You're polishing that turd hard, man. You really are polishing that turd as hard as you can because it's. Come on.
Gainwell, they stole him. They're paying him nothing, and Gainwell is a very.
He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything. That's why I don't pay him anything.
He was very effective for Philly the last 4 years in his role
as a third down back. He's a third string back. It's fine. It's a fine contract,
they're
but
paying him
it's
under $2 million.
Yeah, because he's
as far as Eccles goes, he's got a slightly better coverage grade than Beanie Bishop of 60.2 to Beanie's 57.1. Run defense isn't that great, but I mean he had 2 interceptions. I in the slot, maybe it works. It'll be him and Beanie going at it. So either way,
not paying him very much.
Either
Summer
way,
brings up a good point.
It's what.
After what GP did to Eccles last year, he needs to stay in the slot and not away from the outside.
But I think that's what they're thinking. I think the plan is. I honestly, guys, I just don't think they like Beanie that much. He's got great hands apparently, but like coverage wise, maybe they think they can move
Nichols
an outside
played
guy
the whole year
to
on the outside
inside, and it'll work out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think that was more about that wasn't their first choice with DJ Reed and Sauce. Both of those guys missed some time.
That's true. You can't say this anything more than underwhelming free agency. I mean, Gainwell's a third down back.
Yet.
Eccles is a special teams guy. Malik Harrison is a special teams guy. They fucking brought back Scotty Miller. We brought back Scotty Miller.
That was confusing. Confusing.
Skoranek, I'll give him a pass. He's a special. We're the only team in the league that spends, $5-10 million on special teams guys. I don't understand.
Scotty Miller, he ain't going to make the team. Scotty Miller's not going to make the team.
Are you sure, Bob? Are you sure?
Well, we have 6 guys right now.
Assuming they keep Pickens.
That's a big assumption to start.
Okay. Metcalf, Pickens, Austin, Wilson, a rookie, and Skoranek will be the 6 wide receivers.
If they trade George Pickens, that's one of those moments that I've been talking about all season. If they trade George Pickens,
what they trade him for, it depends.
And don't get a wide receiver back, then
if they trade Pickens and get a second or third round pick, and they pick Matthew Golden in the first round, That's good. That's
We're right
okay.
back to where we
I'm
were.
okay with that.
We're right back to where we were.
You hope.
And
You
Scotty
hope
Miller.
No,
hit
you're
on
not
him.
back to where you were. Rookie.
I know
wide
he's under
receivers
contract
are
longer, but
good.
that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Well,
for 2025.
Yeah, but you have to hope that you hit on that pick. That's the only thing. You're gambling. You better hope that pick is legit and works out. That's the thing.
If you spend it on Golden in the first round, Higgins, Horton in the second, third round, it's going to hit. Those are good players.
I get it, Bob. I get it. In theory, these players should be really good, but sometimes they're not that good. So that's the problem. So hopefully they nail it. That's the thing. I hope it does work out well.
And are we sure they're going to take
back
well?
over the last 3 drafts, there are a bunch of guys that are top level wide receivers: Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, who were taken in the second, third, fourth, fifth rounds. There's bunches of guys who are talented NFL receivers that you can get a little later in the draft. They need a wide receiver 2 to go with Metcalf. You don't need a 1A. Or if you do get a 1A, it better be somebody with a different fucking skill set.
Well, there's also a Roman Wilson in round 3, and that did not go well this first season. So
you see all these wide receivers are going to fall out of the sky in the second, third, and fourth round.
We don't know that.
I like your idea of if they get rid of Pickens, you draft 2. That way you should hit on 1.
Yeah, but you don't even have a second round pick, so that's 2 out of your 6 picks. You're going to,
and that's another good. Well, I think Bob's hoping that they trade Pickens, they get a second, third, whatever. Yeah. So you hope that's what happens, and then they can do that, Dave. They can double down on a wide receiver. But I again, you definitely would go. I would go better with 2, just so you definitely, hopefully, nail one of them. So
they were also talking to Kyle Juszczyk. He's the fullback. I think he was last with the 49ers.
I don't understand that at all.
He's a 34-year-old fullback with 1 million miles on him.
I was surprised. I mean,
it's an Arthur Smith special, baby. Get him at fullback. Let's go.
Why is Cordarrelle Patterson's name still even remotely associated with this?
He's going to be on the team. Are we going to? I mean, wouldn't he be cut by now?
Yeah,
they don't need a cap. You only saved $2 million by cutting him. It's not cap.
I would have cut him mid-season last year, but that's just me.
He's going to be on the team. I'm going to go bananas. I really might lose it this year.
Yeah, he can't be the third guy. There's just no way.
He's not going to be on the team. He's not, because with the Gainwell signing,
he's a kick.
They're going to take. Yeah, they're going to take him to camp. And look, if they draft, I'm telling you right now, if they draft Golden is the kick returner, not Cordarrelle Patterson.
Well,
if you know, they're going
to draft.
They need defensive line. They didn't sign a defensive lineman. We're going to sign a defensive lineman to help this defensive line.
Honestly, that particular one didn't surprise me, simply because I think of all the things we were going to double dip on defensive line. If I
double dip on everything,
I would bet money on that.
Although
that's my point. They're going to take a defensive lineman.
Find somebody and out there, a veteran. He doesn't think that they'll rely solely on the draft, because you can't count on a guy coming out of the draft being 100% ready. Right.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the point. Everyone's gone. Out of the top 50 free agents, I think 46 of them have been signed. So now it's like you've missed the boat.
Well, you got another round. Don't forget this. When the league year flips over in June, there's going to be a whole new fresh round of cuts.
I guess. Yeah.
Sure. Well, how many pitchers did you all use when you heard that Van Jefferson had gone to the Titans and that wasn't a possible reunion?
My first question is: Does Tennessee watch Pittsburgh tape at all?
No.
At all?
Tennessee.
They paid freaking.
Look, I thank them for their services. Thank you for not giving them.
I would have thrown in a hybrid running back return guy with them.
Yeah, right.
Like a BOGO special. They could have had Cordarrelle
Patterson. A BOGO special.
Yeah.
I don't know who got the worst end of the stick, the Titans or the Chargers here.
Yeah, the Chargers lost the Steelers tape too, because they signed Mike Williams, Dante Jackson, and
Najee Harris. Whoa.
Oh, and Najee too.
They're doing the filing basement Steelers clearance sale and took everybody, man. That's crazy.
Did they not watch this team last year?
You know what's funny? Jaylen Warren is going to have a higher base salary than Najee Harris with the Chargers.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it isn't crazy though, because Jaylen Warren played pretty well the last couple seasons, so he deserves a bump up in pay.
Playing and not broken on the sideline.
Yeah.
He hasn't gotten hurt
It's-
that much.
It's one of them things. I don't know the contract details. It is
Yeah.
what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. And somebody is worth what they're willing to pay him. That's
'Cause
the
he's been-
reality. I mean,
Warren's getting what, $8 million for the tender? Is it an $8 million tender?
I don't think-
5.3.
Yeah, it wasn't that much.
5.3.
It was- yeah,
And then
it was
Najee's
fine.
base salary is 5 something too, isn't it? Okay.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was.
5.4.
It's 5 even with incentives. He can make
Right.
another
Okay.
4.25.
Okay.
But his base is only 5.
so what did you guys think about the rumors floating around about Cooper Kupp now that that's
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it.
Are you?
No quarterback, all wide receiver. That's my new hashtag.
can he throw a ball? Cooper, can
I
he throw a
honestly,
ball?
right now, if you have Mason Rudolph, I'm still all on board on the. I would have fun if it was Mason throwing to a bunch of, because Cooper Kupp is another just consummate professional that could come in and maybe reach George. Because if Cooper Kupp cannot reach George Pickens, no one on the face of this planet can reach George Pickens.
Yeah, I think
Only
you'd have
I'm,
better
I'm
luck.
curious about what he would bring to that, because he's been hurt, and we're gonna possibly pay a premium because he's him. But on the off chance he plays 10 games, to me that's worth it.
Jesus himself can't reach that guy.
No,
Yeah.
I wrote that article, in fact, that
Yeah.
even Jesus, if he were to come down
Yeah.
from whatever Kabali said, Mount Arafat or whatever, he couldn't reach. His biblical references messed up. But
I wonder if DK threatened his life. It might work because I wouldn't mess with DK.
no.
But Pickens has shown he's volatile. He would fight him in the drop of a hat. He might.
He would.
And he'd lose.
He
He'd lose
would.
badly.
He
I
might.
agree. He'd fight him.
He'd lose badly.
Pickens has got that reach, man. I don't know.
Are we gonna start arguing over who would win a fight? Jesus Christ.
Yes, we are,
No.
Dave.
We're not going to have to argue. We're going to see it.
There you go.
So we talked briefly about defensive line. Are you guys concerned that hasn't been a part of what we've done so far? Do you think it's because we're going the draft? Do you think it's, like David said, because we have to wait till we settle the quarterback before we worry about that? I heard Kabali today say that he thinks they could be thinking about moving Benton out since he's a little bit undersized,
out.
and maybe
Yeah.
draft one of those giant nose tackles that's out there.
I think that almost is definitely happening. I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
is the
that's
plan.
Well, he's
Yeah.
shown that he's not that effective consistently.
No.
That's not his. That shouldn't be his position. He shouldn't be the nose
Benton's an
tackle.
undersized nose. Yeah, they should be
Right.
playing him. They
Yeah.
should be playing him at the end anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, what a shock! We play somebody in the wrong position.
Positional flexibility, Bob.
Yeah,
That's what we're all
positional
about.
flexibility. Don't you ever forget that.
Unless you're Dan Moore.
I mean,
But it's good work if you can get it.
you have to be concerned, right? I mean, it's only Hayward and him right now. Is Montrevious Adams? He's on the contract, right? They still have him, but
A concern, not surprised.
Maybe
And I will say, I was
Wild,
surprised.
Lowry.
I was surprised
What?
right off the
Logan
bat when we
Lee.
didn't sign somebody. But
did he just say
the
Logan
Justin
Lee?
Fields thing told me that we weren't going to sign someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
Would you
fair.
guys back the cup? Would you guys pay the 12 mil that he wants
Absolutely not.
per?
I mean, if it was 1 year, I might see if I could get him for 8 to 10, but I wouldn't go to all the way to 12. Number one, because Arthur Smith doesn't understand that slot receiver is a position in the NFL.
I'll say this: if they trade for a Joe Milton or Hooker, one of those guys, absolutely, because I'll have the money then to do it. And I'm going to give that guy every motherfucker I can find to make plays for him and see where this goes. So, yeah.
So then
I
your answer
that's
is
what I
no
would
then,
do.
because then I get
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it'd be predicated on what they do at quarterback money-wise. If they got a lot of money still to spend, yep, do it. That's the way I
Well,
look
you
at it.
feel like that's where we are. Do you know what I mean? And how much of a disadvantage does that put us at that we don't already have this, nailed, like Zach said earlier? Do you know what I mean? Dropping the ball on Fields or whatever. Even Aaron Rodgers, if that's the route you wanted to go, why didn't you go all in on him early?
Yeah.
Like Dave's point, you give him a deadline, says, look, we're not fucking around with you into free agency. You need to let us know for sure by this day or we're moving on. Do you know what I mean?
They could have
And then
offered.
you could have pretended like you weren't out on Russ and go back to him and not
They-
make him mad.
They could have offered Aaron Rodgers $100 million a year, and he would still take a vacation and let you know when he.
I agree, but then you're done
going-
with him, and you know,
Yeah.
you know what
Walk
I mean.
away.
You
I
control
keep saying
your
that.
destiny.
You
have
had
set
to
the
walk
deadline.
away before, not after free agency. You had to walk away before free agency because there is no other option. You let Justin Fields go. The moment that happened, you were fucked, and you knew you were fucked, and you were in Aaron Rodgers' pocket.
Oh, there was other quarterbacks that you could have
There was
set
other
that money for.
quarterbacks.
Well,
You could have traded for Geno Smith. You could have tried to go more
you
aggressively
could
after
argue
Darnold.
a
Traded for a
certain-
35-year-old quarterback who was at best in his best year about
So-
half the quarterback that Aaron Rodgers.
So
ever.
look, I say give him till tomorrow, all the way to 11 p.m. or whatever, 11:59 p.m. He doesn't sign, trade for Joe Milton, sign Cooper Kupp, and let's fucking roll.
Please go watch Joe Milton's tape. Joe Milton, we will not win a game. We'll be 0-17.
Well, according
is
to you guys, we're not
terrible.
going to win a game anyway. So why
Joe
not
Milton
spend
is
money and not win a game?
terrible. He is terrible.
I don't know, Bob. Some of that stuff I saw, I was impressed. I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Against second and third stringers in one game. Go
Maybe.
back, watch any of his
Yeah.
senior year at Tennessee. He was terrible. He's not a good quarterback.
Okay.
You
I
might
will
as
say
well
that
trade
the
for Anthony Richardson and get the upgrade.
I meant it when I genuinely meant it when the second Justin Fields was gone. Name a quarterback. I might not like it, but I'll shrug and I'll say yes. I mean it. Name
I'm getting to
quarterback.
your philosophy,
It is,
Zach.
to me, it's a
I'm getting
fucking body right now. We messed up. That we get what we get. So whoever fills that spot, I just want him to have guys to hand off to and guys to throw to. I don't care. Gray blobby thing back there. That's it. I don't care the name. So sure, Joe Milton.
Ray
sure.
blobby thing.
Bob, make a list of whoever you want.
Name your
Right there,
three
Cooper Rush.
faces.
Stop that Cooper Rush stuff. I'm
Absolutely.
going to lose my mind with that.
My cat that is
Holy
sitting
shit.
5 feet from me. Courage could play. Let's have fun. But the second Justin Fields was gone, I completely relegated myself to whoever the fuck. Just someone to throw the ball. If you could throw the ball past the line of scrimmage, good for you, because Russell Wilson couldn't.
No, I'm getting to a point where no Rodgers, I'm all in. Get even Hendon Hooker, either one of those guys. Like, go get one of those guys. Let's see what they got, since they're not going to get a chance.
I saved this tweet because I wanted to ask you guys about this before we ended the show today. Are we all out on Jackson Dart or Will Howard? Just need someone to hand the ball off twice and chuck it deep. I thought this was interesting because Gary Dulac was on Rich Eisen today, and Eisen asked him about drafting a quarterback. Like, does he see that as possible this year? And he said he thinks with everything that's happened, it's more likely that they're going to draft a quarterback, whether it's this year, if somebody falls to them in the third round, or
Yes.
next year. He doesn't think they'll reach for one in the first.
Right.
What do you guys think about that, Jackson Dart or Will Howard with a third round pick?
Do not do it with the first round pick. Do not do
Yeah.
it.
Do not
Well-
do it at 21 at all costs.
No.
Well, then you're not getting Dart because he's not lasting the third.
Then so be it.
You're
So
down to
be
Will
it.
Howard.
So be it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
drafting
I'm fine with that
Howard.
too. But then you got to set your. Then my thing is, why bother then? Will Howard's just going to be another backup. So
I'm
just
not-
wait till 26.
I'm
Not to
personally not
mention the
interested
fact
in
that
Howard.
you watch
I'm
Will
not
Howard at
interested
the
in-
combine. Will Howard has demonstrated he sucks.
Yeah, it's
There
You
are
might get
plenty of
lucky on
project
Dart.
backs in this draft. So.
I've reserved for myself that if you can't get Dart in the third, then I would rather shuck on day 3, and that's it.
well, you're not
like-
going to get Shuck on day 3. Either.
And that's fine.
I'd rather
I'm
Colin
not
Ford on day 3.
I'm not going over draft value for a guy. I'm just not. So if you can't get these guys at their projected value of what they should be, then fuck it, don't do it.
I was telling
agree
Bob,
Yeah, go ahead.
Todd McShay has Dart 31st on his board and Shuck 32nd, and that guy's as wired in as
30
wired in as
second
anybody.
for
He
shot.
thinks both of them are getting drafted in the first round. So if it's not first, it's very early second on both. So
That's what?
cross them off.
How did Shuck go from being a
NFL
day
guys
3
love
guy?
Shuck now. NFL guys
this-
love Shuck.
Well, this is very reminiscent of the Kenny Pickett draft to me. All the Malik Willis and the Matt Corral and the Sam Howell, they're all going to go in the first round. None of those motherfuckers did. So, bottom line is, I agree with Doran Dickerson from this morning on the 93.7 morning show. If you're sitting at 21 and Shador falls, you almost have to do it if you're the Steelers at this point. Anybody else, wait till beyond that. You got to wait till the third round when you get your pick, or trade Pickens and get back in the second round.
The one thing I'll say about Shador, the just going off pure draft value, it's there with him. At least that's your draft value, the right draft value, compared to a Dart or a Shuck, in my opinion.
I'll give you that.
It's not a reach. That draft value more is going off projection before anybody loses their fucking mind. It's him. That's him falling. He's actually falling.
Oh, 100%.
So that there,
I don't really worry though, like where he'd be in a draft with like a few stronger quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like
They said he'd be
sixth.
He would have been sixth last year.
What would that put him in? You know what I mean? With
Behind Bo Nix.
21 with other needs. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Look, I draft him, let him and Mason have a go at it.
Yeah.
If they both suck, trade one, try next year for another one.
Well,
I don't care.
If they both suck, you're not getting anything for them.
Just nail it.
David, that's a good point because I might not like it if we took it, but at least you're right about draft value. I couldn't be upset about the fact that someone like that fell that far, and because Kenny Pickett was a massive reach to me and just an unnecessary thing that occurred to us. But I might not like the Shador thing, but I could resign myself better to that than a lot of other things.
Yeah, but if he falls to 21, then a lot of quarterback needy teams passed on him. Well, what does that tell you?
Well, that's what worries me about it. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we right back in that same conversation when we don't develop him well, when he doesn't perform well in Pittsburgh, that we reached for him and then we couldn't develop him, and it's Kenny Pickett all over again.
Well, you wouldn't be able to make the case that you reached for Shador because he started out as a projected top 5, and if you get him at 21, nobody's going to say we reached for Shador Sanders. They're going to say you fell to him.
I think they're going to say exactly that when he underperforms in the league.
I'm trying to remember. Was Kenny Pickett's draft value?
Nobody said they were reaching for Kenny Pickett at the time either.
I'm trying to remember. Like, what was his projection? Like,
he was considered the best quarterback in that draft.
Yeah.
So was he projected? But was he a projected first rounder? Is my question.
Like late first rounder.
Late first rounder. I think it was the Saints that were predicted to take him at 27 or 28.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
If I remember
correctly. What you need to know about that draft is when they took Pickett, and the Steelers took Pickett in the first round, not another quarterback got picked until the third.
Yeah, Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Who we thought he might go first. We thought he might
everyone
go.
thought it was Pickett and Malik Willis. Yeah.
That's who we should trade for. Get Malik Willis, send Russell Wilson and Kenny Pickett to Cleveland. Let's go. I'm on board for that shit.
I'm literally not saying no to anybody. And by the way, shower curtain, we are a quarterback needy team, but that doesn't mean we have to be desperate. We can be both. We can be smart and needy at the same time.
Somber cleared up his confusion from last podcast where he's confused about our draft picks. Turns out he wasn't crazy. It's 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lost the 7th for Preston Smith and swapped 1 for a 6 with 2.
That's right.
Good mathing on that math there,
No, they have 3. They had 3.
When
I do the mock drafts, they had 3 7s.
Yes, we've had.
So they should have 2 left.
I think so. They should have 2 left.
It's hard.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go look it up.
Have to look it up, but I think
most
so.
of the simulators we still have a second.
That's what I was going to say. If only the simulators haven't updated it or something. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's true.
If you watch Bob's Tuesday mock draft, you know that Bob got rid of the second in the DK Metcalf trade. So I picked accurately based on what our real picks are supposed to be.
Nice.
Watch Bob's drafts, people.
Yes.
And by the way, shower curtain, if that was a Pitt University joke as well as a pity joke and a play on the word, that was one of the best puns I've seen in a while.
That's pretty good. I missed that. That's pretty good.
That was a good one. I like that.
Hey,
I'm here for the
my mock draft. Just real quick, you know who I got in the 3rd round in this week's mock draft?
Who?
Shador Sanders.
Who?
Whoa.
Shador Sanders. Because I when I traded away the DK pick, when I came up in the 3rd, Shador was there.
I've heard people say Shador could fall to the end of the 1st round.
Yeah,
I've heard that on a couple podcasts.
I got a Marion in the first one that popped up. I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, I'm not even thinking about this.
Third.
Shador's
I
candidates.
mean, yeah, I'm definitely.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't think he
At
lasts
that
long.
point, the draft is pure chaos, and I would
Yeah.
love to see how that worked itself out. Just explosions everywhere, random runs on punters.
The Steelers could just say fuck it and trade out of the first round and gain more picks too.
That's something that
I
they got to
wouldn't hate
seriously
that.
think about.
I mean,
That's
if
something
you're
you
at
gotta think about.
21, I mean, fuck it. Just if you have to, if somebody gives you an offer you can't refuse, do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's something you definitely got to think about. If somebody gets
It's
really,
a good year to consider it.
Because there's so many good players that in this draft, probably in the second, third round.
Let's hope Buffalo loves somebody at 21 because they could easily, they're at 30. They've got pick 58. If they would be willing to go 30 and 58 for 21, I'd do it in a second.
Yeah,
there's a couple of those teams like Tennessee and New York. They don't get a quarterback in the first round. They're going to want to trade up to get a quarterback before the first round's over. So there's a lot of possibilities there.
There's some possibilities. So I want to know everybody's prediction. By the time we come back on Monday, oh my God, we better have a real quarterback, as much as I love Mason Rudolph. Like, seriously. So I want to know your guys' predictions before we come back on Monday. Who do you think will be the Steelers' projected starting quarterback?
I can't see that it says Cooper Rush.
I wrote it backwards.
Okay.
It's going to be like Relic now.
Cooper Rush, he's out. So good thing I'm not giving away a prize.
You writing this down, Leanne?
I am writing this down.
Nice, I like it.
Yeah.
That's
What
not
about
my real prediction. It'll be limbo. We won't have one.
Still won't have
Don't say that, Bob.
All right, so
Don't say
Bob's
that, Bob.
down
Aaron
as
Rodgers
limbo.
will decide at the end of March. Sometime.
Okay. All right. Bob's
Fuck
limbo.
you,
Dave?
Fuck you.
Wait, why are you motherfucking somebody? What?
Yeah, he's like,
That was a
Rush.
rush.
At the end of March.
Oh,
No, the
Until
Steelers.
the end of
God
March.
help me.
Not at you or Bob.
end of March.
God help me if the Steelers wait that long.
Dude,
If they wait that long, they deserve what they get.
people
They
are going
deserve
to
what
be
they
jumping off the Fort Pitt Bridge if it's fucking end of March. Good Lord.
Look, if they do wait that long, your wish might come true, Dave, because you want Jackson Dart. So if you want Jackson Dart, hope for chaos.
Yeah, I can't see it lasting that long.
Oh,
I say
man.
Aaron Rodgers signs this weekend
Okay.
with the Steelers.
Anyways.
Mason Rudolph.
Oh, okay. All right.
I am on the train.
Dave, who'd you
For
pick?
some reason, it made me really happy.
Aaron Rodgers signs by the weekend.
I'm with Dave. My man's going to roll up in his brand new Pittsburgh Pirates hat, fucking ready to fucking roll,
Yes, sir.
baby.
Okay.
I
hold
get
on.
it.
I
Get
want
on
to get a
ayahuasca.
gauge. If Aaron strings us along past Monday, do you really seriously consider approaching Ben to see if he was kidding?
Ben was kidding. Don't do
Oh,
that to yourself,
Jesus,
Bob. It's
no,
not going to happen.
no, Bob.
He
It's a
would
joke.
break in half.
It's a
I don't
joke.
think
Same age.
Shouldn't take
He's the
that kind of
same
hit anymore.
age.
Yeah.
I know he's the same age, but he hasn't played in
He's
2
not
years.
in
He's broken
place
down.
anymore. I mean,
He said he
Jason-
couldn't overthrow his son in the
Right.
yard, so he had to retire.
Right. Yeah.
So he
And-
gained upgrade
Wait,
already off
is-
what we had last year.
Is the Pat McAfee show on tomorrow?
I think it's on every
It's on every day, right?
Yeah,
It's
but
every
I-
day.
I'm telling you, I can see it right now. Rogers appears. He's got his brand new pirate on. He shotguns a bottle of ivermectin. Fucking, it's going to be fucking epic. It's going to be amazing.
Well, you heard Tone Diggs said that Friday's like a full moon, so his moon rocks will be charged. So maybe he'll announce it then.
Dude, it's going to be amazing. I might have to record the show.
Power curtains in on Bobby Boucher.
It's gonna be a
Bobby
weird
Boucher.
weekend.
What was the Dan Fouts line in that movie? It's the last game of the season. Can't leave anything on the table.
God help us. What's your prediction, Leanne?
Russell Wilson.
Nice.
Don't do that to
Okay.
us, Leanne.
We're
All right.
I think that the
He'll be
Steelers are
playing
going to
to
be
empty stadium.
frustrated, waiting for Rodgers.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's necessarily like my ideal situation.
Right. Right.
It's not a great situation. I think the Steelers are going to get, going to not let Rodgers continue to make them a laughing stock like this. And I think they'll give
I
him
hope
a
so.
deadline, just like you said. I think he's so arrogant, he'll refuse to try to meet it. And I think they'll go back to Russ and make nice with him. And I think Russ really wants to be back in Pittsburgh. So I think it won't take much.
I'll make a bold prediction. If they sign Russell Wilson, Arthur Smith will quit before the
Nah, he
season.
won't quit. He's not
Quit?
quitting, Bob.
He will quit.
He's not
He will
going
resign.
anywhere.
On the
I
Quit.
guarantee it.
After he
Yeah.
just gave up a chance as a head coach at North Carolina, that'd be an epic, stupid move.
Yeah,
Right.
he's not
Well,
gonna
no,
do it.
he'd be like, I'm not going to ruin my reputation.
He's also
anymore.
got to know too that he's got a potential rookie coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that too. That's true.
He might have to suck it up for
Got
1
a
year.
chance to shape somebody coming pretty soon. Build something really good. Yeah.
The only bright spot to me if Russell Wilson comes back is I guarantee. I mean, they're going to fire everybody by the end of next season.
No, he'll be just good enough to
They're
get them
not
9-8.
firing Bob. They're not
He'll be
firing
just good enough to get them
anybody.
9-8.
No,
That's
he's
what they want.
firing.
That's what Denver thought when they were 7-10.
Yeah. All right, so they go 8-9 or whatever it is. They'll be right around there.
Look, literally everything you guys said, none of it would surprise me. Any of these predictions.
We're at that
could
point.
happen. Rogers
We're
was
at-
sharing apartment
I would
policy and
actually
start
watch
the
that
Pittsburgh
show.
Odd Couple show.
I would
Oh
watch
yeah,
that.
baby.
Yeah, as much as I can't stand Rodgers, I would watch that.
Start watching
That
the
was
1988 tape.
Funny as hell.
Somber missed our thoughts on Yuzik earlier. Anybody want to fill him in? Oh, where did it go? I had the wrong one.
I'm
We
not
would
crazy about it.
overpay for a 34-year-old guy. If
Yeah.
we got a young guy, absolutely. In his youth, he's 34. He's 34.
His run grade was 49 something.
And we have Jack Coletto. Don't disparage Jack Coletto.
I'm just saying his run grade was
Honestly,
49 point something. I'm not really interested.
Honestly, I mean, I don't think much of Yushik at this point, and we don't really use a fullback, but can you really argue he wouldn't be an upgrade over Connor Hayward?
I would argue that we
Again,
don't really
He's
have
low
a-
bars. I'm
Well,
sick
if we
of
don't,
it.
Yeah.
well, we don't really use it a lot. If we used it a lot, okay, maybe.
Maybe we'd use one if we had one who was any good.
What's the guy that is it Jack Coletto, the young guy?
That's what he just said.
Jack
Zach just said
Coletto.
that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. I was too busy.
You're
I was,
okay.
I was too busy thinking. I'm thinking
Yeah,
over
no,
here.
Jack Coletto. He's still on
thinking.
practice squad. He's still there. Let's break. Come on,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah, I mean, for the
I'm
10
fighting
plays a year
brain
we use a
fog.
fullback,
Zach, forgive
I'm
me.
okay with Coletto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If
I
you
like
guys-
Jack Coletto. So.
Yeah. If you guys have joined us tonight in the chat, we really appreciate it. You make this so much more fun. Please give us all a follow on social media. Follow the Steelers Sanctuary podcast. Go buy yourself a Hall of Fame Herbig t-shirt real quick. The QR code is up there in the top corner of the screen.
Come on, Zach.
You might want to wait to find out about Uncle Aaron.
Yeah,
before
it
you
might.
buy it, or maybe buying the shirt, we all wear them. It'll encourage him to come here or whatever.
Be the first to grab it. Be the first to grab
Buy
it.
the shirts, guys. It's gonna
Buy the
be amazing.
If you
Just
do
do
get
it.
a Hall of Fame Herbig, please take a picture of yourself in the shirt
Yeah.
and post it on social
Yeah.
media so
Yeah.
Dave can see it.
Think
Yeah.
about
I'd be
how
happy to see
unique.
it.
Think
I'd be
about how
happy.
you. Think about
Think
how
of the
unique
show.
you'll be wearing these shirts. You're gonna be like Hall of Fame Herbig. Where'd that
Right.
come from?
Right.
Don't forget,
Uncle
Bob and I-
Aaron.
Shirt.
Bob and I are going to do the draft show 1 p.m. on Sunday.
Yes.
We're going to go over a couple of Todd McShay's, thank you, top 100, and we're going to do some of our own stuff, so that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, our top 10 skill position players
Yes.
that we think the Steelers should draft. Also, draft profiles tomorrow and Saturday. Dylan Sampson will be one of them. I don't know who the other one is just yet. Maybe I'll do Jackson Dart and try to be nice.
There you go, attaboy.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Ain't nothing over till it's over.
What's that from, the 80s?
It's probably the 70s.
This is disappointing as hell.
Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
Yo, come back now, you hear?
Probably worth the Google.
Saw that coming.